Max, so we're going to turn to GA. The situation in Donegal appears to be rather fraught. They are at the foot of Division 1. That is not the burning issue, though, when it comes to football in the county. The issue of Karl Lacey and the Donegal Academy is one that has been firing people up for the last number of weeks. So the gist of this, Karl Lacey, four-time All-Star, All-Ireland winner in 2012, Footballer of the Year, needs no introduction. 2 years ago, in January of 21, he was appointed as the head of the Donegal Academy. He was their head of academy development. Well qualified on various fronts, as well as his playing career. He has a Masters in Sports Performance from the University of Limerick. He's a lecturer in sport coaching and performance in Letterkenny. So, in effect, he was overseeing the coaching of players from under 14 to under 20 level. Then last month, even though from the outside things seem to be going very well, he stepped down from his position. In his statement, he mentioned a lack of support from the county board, and then there was a big show of solidarity for Lacey because there was a mass resignation from all the coaches in the county working under him, believed to be numbered at approximately 40. So 40 odd coaches resigned. And in their statement, they said they'd lost all confidence in the governance of Donegal GAA. And they said of Lacey that they were extremely disappointed in how he was treated in his role. And we've seen numerous luminaries of Donegal football express their disappointment. For instance, in response to the Donegal County Board statement, which I'll come to in due course, Eamon McGee tweeted, "A few days on from this joke of a statement, and I'm still so mad that our county board has decided to treat Karl Lacey like this. It's actually disgusting. Letting go of Lacey and the vision he had for our footballers will set us back so much. It's so disheartening to see." And then Anthony Molloy, there's a Lake Regale of Anthony Molloy upcoming, and he was doing some media for it over the last few days, and he was asked about the situation. And he said, Karl Lacey came in the last couple of years. He did a fantastic job, and I mean a fantastic job. We were in the top 5 academies in the country, from what I hear, and now we're sitting without any academy, and it should never have happened. No one seems to know the answers as to why it did happen, but definitely a breakdown in communication between our county board and Karl Lacey and the academy. There's no doubt about that. Karl Lacey is going to be a huge, huge loss to Donegal. And then one last point from Gary McDade, the former Donegal under-20s football manager. He spoke to Ocean FM, and he gave his thoughts on the situation as well.
I'm hugely fearful for our future, Conor. Right now, Buncrana Cup starts in a few weeks' time. We, at the minute, do not have a team to enter in that Buncrana Cup. We don't have a manager for that team. We don't have coaches for that team. Those players are currently not following programs that they had been following the last couple of years. And probably that we, as a public, as a GA public, as supporters, as Donegal people, would have got to see the fruition of the last couple of years since the current structure in place. Really get to see it with that academy, that under-16 team, and probably even more so when they're minor next year, when they got another year under their belts. Like, that's what I was really looking forward to, was seeing the first group come through that started at under 14. And I'm really fearful. And if any county, Conor, has any sense, I'm sure they've been already on the phone to Karl Lacey to get them into their county, because we were the envy of many counties and our neighbours, and I would not be surprised to see his name being linked to many positions elsewhere.
So that is a sense of the mood in Donegal. Happy to say Brendan Devanney is with us. Evening.
What about you, Joe?
People aren't happy.
No doom and gloom there, Joe. That's very depressing. Jesus. Hey, it never rains, but it pours. It's not looking good at the minute in Donegal, and this saga is the last thing we needed, Joe. But this is where we're at.
Do we know what happened?
Listen, there's two sides to every story. I have a good degree of information on this, Joe, and it'd be unfair of me to kind of pick a side here, but I'll give you a gist of what seems to have happened. That Karl, obviously, as you mentioned there, unreal footballer, one of the greatest players ever in the country that remained at Donegal. Very well got in Bonner's backroom team, and he was given this job, as he's in 21, to bring this academy in. He had a vision, and he was setting it up, and the word coming back from him was fantastic. Load of coaches, everybody involved. Something happened in Joe around the county board seemed to be, the academy seemed to be acting a small bit outside of the county board's kind of remit or their umbrella or whatever you want to call it. And people in the county board started to ask about governance, and there was talk of contracts and things that weren't in place, which seemed to be needed to be in place. And as soon as that started, Joe, this is from a good while back, there was issues there in the background, and things slowly started to crumble. And they're definitely, Joe, it doesn't make any sense that what the county board looked for was enough for this to fall apart. And when it did fall apart there, I thought for sure that get them around the table, because surely whatever this is, I mean, the county board in many ways demonised in this, and there's, as you said, you read out the quotes and different things, and even saying that they let Karl go. I suppose Karl stepped away himself. Now, let's be honest, I know the county board fellas, and I'm not speaking up for them, they're there for the good of Donegal football too. So whatever they thought needed to be in place, it doesn't seem like it's that mad what they're looking for. But there was some kind of rubbing up, Joe. A few personalities seemed to collide in this, and it just seemed to go down a terrible role, even for what Karl has put on himself to this and what the county needed it. Now, the fact that he thought, right, there's no way to patch this up, it's just a remarkable story and a terrible one for us.
Well, especially if, as Anthony Molloy says, the Donegal Academy was becoming the envy of the country, or certainly as good as anything around. The county board released a very lengthy statement, and so to try and pinpoint what they're citing, I suppose the lines that jumped out to me were when they said Donegal GAA, they're not only bound by, but they fully endorse GAA governance standards. And they say Donegal GAA, including the academy, are not happy with the arrangements as implemented in the football academy. And they do stress, and they make a point of saying, now there's no suggestion or inference that there was any malintent or neglect on the part of Karl Lacey or the coaches. But they are talking about not being happy with the arrangements as implemented in the academy, and that they don't seem to match up to governance standards. And then they add, on the field success, especially with underage players, must have proper controls that are transparent for everybody. As the on-field successes of the academy grew, so too did the distance in position of the county board and the head of academy on the arrangements. Do we know what these arrangements they keep citing are?
You see, that's what I'm saying, Joe. This is so basic. You're like, how could this be the reason? Now, you've probably had, Joe, you're a nice guy. I'm sure you've never fallen out with anybody in news talk. But let's say there's a spat starts with somebody, and maybe an email, and you don't get a response, or and it starts to go down a toxic route. This seemed to start from, see what you're saying, how could that be the reason that Karl stops what he's doing? So this got tangled up in something I think was very, very basic, and it just snowballed from that. And I think whether at that point then Karl dug his heels in, because even as they tried to repair this, there seemed to be so many reach outs from the county board to get around the table, and Karl didn't want to. So it was as if then, they just both, whatever happened, Karl felt rubbed up the wrong way, and he just wasn't going to talk. So what you're saying, the basics of what I know of what they were looking for is what every academy, it has to be part of the county board. I mean, they're the people ultimately that's in charge of the whole organisation in Donegal. So if they thought that the structures weren't right in place, listen, they weren't trying to put a tracker on Karl Lacey's phone and ask him what he was doing every minute of the day, I presume. But whatever they looked for, it seemed to be normal enough procedure. But I think, at the start of this, something happened between a couple of people in the county board and Karl, and it just seemed to kind of spiral from there. And it's, as you said, somebody said about, if we lost Karl now to another county, I mean, it'd be one of them you see in the movie, the big long no. Don't tell us now that of course Karl Lacey's a wanted man, and Dirk and McFadden are down helping in Sligo at the minute from that 2012 team also. Mark McHugh's down helping out Davy Burke at Roscommon. People in Donegal are asking the question, why aren't these guys involved in the current setup? And I suppose Karl was the one that was still involved in terms of doing our underage, and that was something then they looked for the future. So I think that's why a lot of people now, because of where Donegal are at currently, they're in transition. As you said at the start, Joe, we're sitting at the bottom of the league. We're staring relegation in the face. So people are looking to the future. And if our future now is tangled up in this, and another small point in this, Joe, is that Karl set up, it was his vision, this is his plan. So whether he gives over this plan now to the next phase is another thing. I mean, this is him that set all this up. So, I mean, this is his ideas and this is his setup. So whether that gets transferred to the new man or the new people comes in, that still hasn't been qualified yet either.
Right, okay. So it sounds like backs were rubbed up the wrong way initially, positions entrenched, and all the mediation didn't seem to bring it back from the brink, and it all feels very needless. What is I presume, given that Karl Lacey is maybe... I presume given that Karl Lacey's super popular in the county for obvious reasons, and county boards generally are not, the average Donegal football fan, I would think, is on Karl Lacey's side.
Yeah, that's it, exactly, Joe. And that's why I'm just trying to get a wee bit of a balance in it, because everybody attacks straight away. And listen, not him, whatever. I just wanted the right resolution. I was sure, it's almost like you need somebody like Dr. Phil or somebody to come in and mediate here and get us all together. I really thought that Karl was sounding an alarm to say, here, I want this done a certain way. How that we couldn't pull it together, Joe, if you're on a bit of governance or contracts or whatever it was, how we couldn't find a middle ground in that is unbelievable for me. And as I say, just where Donegal are at the minute, we just need, I suppose, this to be sorted straight away, because the foundations is there, and whether these coaches come back now, and just the way the statement they made about not being happy, that was a big statement to make to us, probably one of the most worrying things. Why did they think that it was at that level? Obviously,
well, they say those 40 coaches who followed Lacey say they've lost all confidence in governance of Donegal GA.
I mean, Joe, that's as hard as you can hit any group that's governing over Donegal GA.
They're calling for sackings or resignations, effectively.
Yeah. So, we have the Centre of Excellence in Convoy. It's been open the last couple of seasons, and where Donegal were at in terms of on the pitch was we were competing thereabouts all the time. So all these things now have fallen into one pot at the minute, Joe. And listen, as I say, I can't see what the county board necessarily asked for was that big of a problem. But Joe, there's more in the background of this, because the basicness of what we've spoken about is not enough for this to fall apart. Okay.
You're not anticipating a miraculous friendship resuming between Lacey and the board then? It's done?
No, it's definitely done, Joe. Yeah, I can say that for sure.
Okay. Grim times, as you mentioned, Donegal at the foot of Division 1. What's going on the field?
Yes, so listen, as we know, transition, with the retirements, the management came in there, new management, all that stuff is going to take time to bed in. Division 1 ultra competitive at the minute, and we're sitting on 3 points, Joe. We had a late winner against Kerry. Don't forget, Galway missed a chance to take the full points in Letterkenny a couple of weeks ago, so we it could be looking actually worse. But just disappointing, I suppose, second half against Monaghan, the performance against Tyrone, of course, and the first half against Armagh. And listen, we just look like a team is still trying to find their feet. And, people might say go down to 2. Would it be the worst thing for this young team? Possibly not, but then you've threatened with potentially going out of the championship, Joe. So it's going to be tough. I mean, you'd have to say at the minute in Ulster, we're definitely fifth on the pecking order. And that's, I mean, Derry's on the way up. They're heading for Division 1, obviously. We could be out. You'd have to say that Derry and Armagh, Tyrone are the 3 teams you'd say strongest going into the championship, and then Monaghan after that. You'd have to put us next, Joe. So there's a huge rebuild going on there at the minute with Donegal, trying to find, I suppose, a style of play that suits us, and it's a difficult time, and it's tough on the new management coming in. But listen, Joe, people will step up to the plate in that time, and it's a young team, young defence. The average age of the team is all young guys that are playing there. There's a few experienced heads in there, and one of them was Hugh McFadden. He went in and did the target job for us last night and unhinged that serious Armagh defence. So, we didn't give up in the game, Joe. So, listen, you've got to, I suppose, look to certain positives in it, but we've Mayo next. They're flying it. Like, to beat them would be a huge ask in Ballybofey on Saturday. That's do or die for us. We've Roscommon away on the last game. So, listen, Joe, you'd have to win the two of them to think you'll stay in the division. It's a tough ask.
Okay. We'll chat again soon. Thanks, Emil.
Thanks, Joe.
See you. Brendan Devanney from Donegal, former Donegal player, giving his perspective on the fallout between Karl Lacey and numerous academy coaches and the county board, which looks done. and no sign of any kind of reconciliation there, and huge anger in Donegal at the situation.